Hi, and welcome to your warm up. We're going to be on all fours, mostly kind of on and off the ground from all fours to laying on our stomach to laying on our back. So if you have any issues with position changes, feel free to take this really slow, maybe pause in between if you need to catch your breath or just take a break. That's totally fine. Feel free to also skip anything if it's not quite making sense to you. You can always stop and leave a comment and ask me like, "Hey, how the heck do I do this?" if you're confused on anything. If you have wrists that tend to be a little bit finicky and you have a couple of dumbbells handy, you can go ahead and grab those and use them to support your wrists when we're in all fours. I think that's everything. We shouldn't need any equipment, so we're just going to go ahead and get started on all fours. Hands are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. If you don't have any dumbbells but your wrists are complaining, you can go ahead and come onto your fists like this and see if that helps. We're just going to start with a cat-cow here. So once you're settled in your all fours, you're going to inhale, drop your stomach, look up toward the ceiling, but you don't need to look anywhere close to it. And then exhale, curl your chin to your chest, lift your ribs, rounding your back. And on your next inhale, you drop, look up toward the ceiling, and exhale, curl everything in. Go ahead and just move through this on your own pace, arching as you inhale, exhaling as you round. And if you get it backwards, don't worry about it. As long as you're breathing and moving, you're totally fine. If anything's feeling uncomfortable, just go ahead and notice it. And if you're noticing that anything feels extra sticky or tight, maybe give it a little bit of room, or maybe go up to the edge of what you're feeling a few times in a row. So you go say that maybe this arch doesn't feel great. So maybe you drop into it, but not super far. And then you move away from it into your round. And you drop into it again just until you get a beginning of sensation. And then you move away from it. And then maybe when you try it again, you can drop into it a little bit further. And maybe not. That's fine either way. Let's go ahead and come back to neutral. You're going to make sure that your weight is evenly distributed on your hands and on your knees. And we're going to go ahead and take some hip circles right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to shift your weight over to one side just slightly. And then you can pick up your knee and then just draw a little circle in the air. It can be teeny tiny. And this back foot or the rotating leg, those toes can stay on the ground. Or if you feel good, you can pick that knee up and the foot up. And then as you feel more comfortable here, maybe you go making that circle a little bit bigger. And then change direction, maybe coming back down with those toes, maybe not. Maybe changing direction just broke your brain, that's also fine, that happens. Nice and slow, checking in with your breath, checking in with your jaw, make sure it's not tensed. Slow down that knee a little bit because it's easy to get bored and start going super duper fast. Ask me if I just caught myself doing that, because that may have happened. Last circle, let's go ahead and shift back to all fours. Before we go to the other side, we're going to come into a child's pose. So you're going to take your knees out nice and wide. Just sit your hips back toward your heels. Your toes can be tucked or flat, whatever makes sense to you. You can keep yourself supported with bent elbows, either on the ground or even on your knees if that feels better to you. Or if you want to sink all the way down and straighten your arms, you can. You can try shifting a little from side to side, see how that feels. If you're a fidgeter like me, feel free to explore this shape a little bit. And if you're feeling a little more tired or you just don't really want to move around, you can just hold still. Big breath in, big breath out. And then we're going to make our way back to all fours so we can do the other side. So on all fours, we're going to go ahead and shift our weight just slightly over to the other side. We're going to pick up the other knee. Those toes can stay down or come up. And just start by drawing a little circle in the air with your knee, like you have a Sharpie on your knee and you're trying to draw the smoothest circle that you can on the floor. If you want to try picking up those toes, you can do that. If you're feeling a little bit wobbly, try tensing your belly just a little bit. Nice and slow with that knee. Go ahead and let out that breath that you're holding and untense your jaw. One more circle, and then we're going to go ahead and change direction. Checking in with your breath. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. One more circle. And then you're going to go ahead and set your knee down. And this time, instead of going to a child's pose, we're actually going to move our knees back a little bit and shift our body forward, just nice and easy, coming down to lay on our stomach. Now from here, we have a couple different options. If you're feeling very tight and crunchy, you can just stay in this position with your elbows out really far, nice and low, and think about lifting your chest. If you try that and that's plenty, go ahead and stay there. But if you feel like you could use a little bit more, you're going to go ahead and draw your elbows underneath your shoulders, thinking about pulling your chest through your shoulders and pressing into your elbows for a nice long neck. You can tuck your chin a little bit so you're not cranking into your neck, since that's not usually super comfortable. And if you want to take some little shifts and fidgets here, you can go ahead and try that on. Maybe a little twist from side to side. Maybe you tilt your head. Maybe look up and down. Just see what feels good. And try and think about what might be helpful. Try it on, and then if it doesn't work, let it go. And then if it doesn't work, hooray, you found something that helped. Very nice. Now, if you feel good here and you want to just stay with these shifts, and this feels like enough, fabulous. If you're feeling like you want a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and take one leg. We're going to bend our knee, kicking our heel up towards our butt, nice and slow. Doesn't have to go up super high. Then we're going to straighten that leg, kick up and bend the other leg. And then nice and slow, just walk from side to side. And if you ever decide that you've had enough and need a break, just go ahead and let your elbows go and set your forehead on your hands. But if you're still with me, we'll just kick our feet a few more times. You might feel a little bit of work or activation in your low back, and that's okay as long as it's not painful. Let's do one more kick on each side. And then set your feet down. Now go ahead and release your elbows. Drop your forehead onto your hands unless you're there already. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then we're going to go ahead and move back to our child's pose from here. So however you can get there comfortably. You can do a little roll out. You can flop gracelessly. It doesn't matter. We're just going to go ahead and make our way back to sit our hips onto our heels. Our knees can be out wide or close together. And then maybe we're sinking all the way down with our forehead on the mat. Maybe we've got our elbows on the mat to keep our head up, or maybe we've even got our elbows on our thighs so that we don't have to do a big deep fold. Just see what works for you. Once you find a shape you like, just go ahead and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then we're going to go ahead and rise out of this and then come to seated on our butt. So let's go ahead and take a second to get comfy. And then you're going to go ahead and come into a hamstring stretch. So one leg is going to come out to the side, doesn't matter which one. And we're just going to take it either directly in front or out to the side. Neither is better or worse. Some people just might notice they have more sensation in one position or another. So if this feels like enough, you're getting a good stretch in your hamstring, then we'll just go ahead and stay there. If this is way intense and you're feeling just super crunched up, maybe take a yoga block or a pillow and go ahead and put it under your sits bones, under your butt, so you can elevate yourself a little bit. If you don't have that, keep your leg bent, and we'll just bring our chest forward a tiny bit. Or if you have enough room to straighten your leg all the way and reach forward, you can do that too. The cool thing about stretching is there's never really an exact prescription where one shape is the best. Some people are going to get a really great stretch here, other people aren't. So we're just basically trying to experiment with what we're doing to make sure that we're finding the thing that works best for you. So you can think of all of these as being more of a suggestion than something where you have to copy exactly what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and switch over to the other leg. Straighten one leg, bend the other. You can tuck this foot kind of high up onto your thigh, or if that's not super comfy, you can have a little bit further out if that's better for you. And then we'll just see where we want to be. Maybe we try and reach our chest a little bit forward. Maybe we can go over to the side to our foot. Maybe we swing between the two. Maybe you can't go forward at all, and that's all completely fine. Just see where you are right now and meet yourself there. That's all we have to do. Take a deep breath. Relax your jaw. If you want to take some fidgets, you may. You'll see me moving around a lot because that's who I am as a person. Except for when I'm really fatigued. When the lupus is lupusing, I will also stop moving. All right, let's go ahead and finish up here. You're going to go ahead and bring both feet back to center. You're going to take your hands a little bit behind you, not too far, maybe like 6 inches or so, just so you're set up like this. Feet are going to be out in front of you, hands are going to be behind you. If this is bothering your wrists, you can go ahead and come up onto your knuckles. You can face the backs of your hands towards you, and that usually feels a little bit better on your wrists. But your mileage may vary. Feel free to experiment with even flat hands a little bit further behind you. That's fine as well. So from here, we're just going to knock our knees a little bit from side to side. So letting them fall over, maybe just a teeny tiny bit. Maybe it's not a lot. That's okay. This is a lot like our 90-90 that we did when we were laying on our back in the floor warm-up video. So if you prefer to do that variation where you're laying on your back, you can go ahead and lay down all the way. Or even if you kind of want to split the difference, you can come down to your elbows. We'll be laying on our back for the next thing we're doing. So if you do end up doing that, you'll be reading ahead in the book. So good job. Very nice. Let's do a couple more on each side. I'll show you from the side view so you can see. And I like to link this to my breath here. So I'll inhale and move my legs and exhale. So you're kind of taking a breath every time you move from one side to the other. Nice and slow. And then we'll come back to center. You're going to go ahead and slowly lower yourself down to lay on your back. Now from here, we're going to do our glute bridges. And you can feel free to put something underneath your head if you want to support your neck. Or if you don't have a blanket or anything handy, you can tuck your hand behind your head if that's comfortable. Now here, we're just going to do a little bit of a warm up to get ready for whatever we're going to do next. So here we're going to think about our glute bridges, where we're tucking down our ribs, we're tucking our tailbone just slightly so that we can brace into the front of our belly. We've got our feet fairly close to our butt, but not super close. And then we press into our feet, pick our hips up, being careful not to hyperextend. We pick our hips up, we hold, we squeeze, we check in on the muscles that we feel, we come back down. Again, drop your ribs, tuck your tailbone, brace your belly, press into your feet, squeeze your butt as you lift up and lower down. Go ahead and keep that nice slow pace. We're not going to do 1,000,007 here. We're just trying to get warmed up into your body. And if you're noticing that the front of your legs or the back of your legs are working more than your butt muscles, you can go ahead and start moving your feet around a little bit. If you're feeling a lot of your hamstrings or the back of your thighs, you might try moving your feet a little bit closer to you. If that doesn't work, try pressing your weight more into your toes, even though you're going to leave your heels on the ground. If you're feeling a lot of the front of your leg, you can try taking your feet a little bit closer towards each other and keeping them the same distance from your hips. If that doesn't work, you can scoot your feet a little further away from you and see if that does the trick. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. And part of the warm up is giving us a chance to feel out what our body's doing and make little adjustments before we start making anything too strenuous. You can go ahead and stop if you're ready. But if you're still with me, we're just going to do 3 more, counting this one that I just did while I was talking. And last one. And release. Very nice. From here, we're going to go ahead and come up to seated, and we're going to do a shoulder positioning drill to warm up our shoulders a little bit. So whatever kind of seated position you'd like to be in, if you want to sit on a block or anything to elevate your hips, if you aren't super comfortable sitting on the ground, please do that. You're going to have your hands on your knees to start, and let's just take a few rolls back of our shoulders. And then we're going to roll them forward, not too many times, just kind of getting into our upper body because we spend a lot of time on our lower body right now. Good. And now we're going to go ahead and take our arms out in front of us. Hands are going to be in line with our shoulders. And this is something that if you've been a client, you've already done the other beginning videos. We've already done this a little bit. So hopefully this won't feel super foreign and weird. So we're going to think about rolling into our external rotation, rolling our arm in our shoulder socket so that our hands spin because we're rolling our shoulders down our back. And now we're going to internally rotate, so rolling our arms in, rolling our arms out and in, and noticing as we roll out how our shoulders kind of screw down our back away from our ears. And then we're just alternating between these two shapes. And you might be feeling a lot of sensation here, you might not. If you're feeling any pain or any clunky chunkiness in your shoulders, especially if it hurts, maybe try making that movement just a little smaller and seeing if that feels a little bit better. But if you're feeling pretty good here, you can feel free to exaggerate this range of motion just a little bit. But if you are hypermobile, a good way to tell if you are is if you straighten your arm and your elbow is actually like kind of bending the other way, then go ahead and keep this a little bit smaller as well. Let's do 3 more, rolling out and in and 2 and 1. Very nice. Go ahead and let that go. Roll your shoulders out. Roll your head a little from side to side. And just like that, you are all done. So whether or not you're just doing this by itself or you're using this to get into a workout that you're going to do next, I'm really glad that you are here, and I will see you again soon.